Hello, welcome to Breakfast All Day. I'm Matt. There's Christy. There's Alonso. And they're going to talk about a New Order. I haven't had a chance to see it. In Spanish, I believe it's called uh,
Nuevo orden.
Nuevo Orden. And Alonso will describe it.
So this is the new film from Mexican filmmaker Michel Franco. He wrote and directed, and this is kind of an economic horror movie. We see the beginnings of a revolution in a city in Mexico. The wealthy people think that they can sort of wall themselves off from it, but it kind of bleeds into their privileged life. But then we also see where there is a fascist element to the military that is ready to sort of abuse this unrest to kind of sweep in and take over. So it is, in my review for TheWrap, I said this is the kind of movie that should be required viewing at like Devos and the W9 no, not the W9. What's that thing called? The conference. Davos, but there's
like the G8.
The G8, thank you. Not the W9 is a tax form. Anyway, like rich people
should have people look at that too.
Rich people should have to see this fucking movie because it is terrifying, and it is, I think, an illustration of why economic instability and inequality in late stage capitalism is bad for everybody, rich and poor, and that like we need to take steps to remedy that. But in addition to what it's about, it's just super suspenseful and terrifying and very, it kind of just takes you sort of methodically bit by bit through what the collapse of society looks like. And I just found this movie really fascinating. Like Parasite, I'm sure this is the kind of movie where, in the way that if you live in South Korea, Parasite has a whole other layers of meanings that outsiders are not going to get. I'm sure there's a lot of commentary that's very specific to Mexican politics that went right over my head. But I'd say as a film about society, Western society as it exists right now in the 21st century, I found this movie really incisive and unsettling, and I liked it very much.
It is shocking. It takes place in the Pedregal neighborhood of Mexico City. This is the incredibly wealthy neighborhood in Mexico City. And there's a ton of style on display here, sometimes in kind of subtle, smooth, fluid ways. I like the camera work in the beginning, like the first 30 minutes of it at the wedding, because you're following various characters through the living room, through the kitchen. There's a bit of an upstairs, downstairs thing happening with the servants who are there. They're all incredibly beautifully dressed and driving up in expensive cars, and they all have security details. And he does a really good job of setting the scene early on, of showing us, like not telling, just showing us through what they're wearing, through the way they carry themselves in this very rarefied air.
How they treat the domestic staff of the house.
Yeah. But eventually I found this pummeling and nihilistic and kind of frustrating, because I am not sure that I'm entirely certain as to what he is saying here, because as you say, rich or poor, like nobody comes out well in this. And it just seems like anybody who is well off and well intentioned here, like awful shit still happens. Like it's almost like a blanket kind of misery for everyone, regardless of intent, regardless of your actions. And I wonder what that it's like he's giving up. Like he's made a really elaborately, beautifully stylish and powerful movie about giving up. Like there's a hopelessness to it that I found frustrating.
I mean, maybe I'm a nihilist. I don't know. To me, what I got out of it, and I think what's interesting about this movie is that it is open to a lot of different interpretations. Like I was saying, I think that this is a movie that's about the fact that economic inequality leads to instability. Instability can lead to fascism, and fascism can be destructive towards rich and poor alike. And so I think the idea is that it behooves rich people to not be to not have such a giant yawning chasm between the most well off and the least well off, because that is a road to perdition. But a more equanimous society, I think, would lead to different results. I don't know. I'm not the deepest of political or economic thinkers. I will be the first to acknowledge, but I found this really potent as kind of a metaphor, as sort of as a fable, I guess,
Yeah.
about late stage capitalism. But yeah, there are certainly nihilistic aspects to it, but I think that's intended as sort of a warning that there aren't any easy solutions to sort of bridging that gap.
And it suggested that the patriarch of this family, the father of the bride, definitely has amassed his fortune through like ill-gotten gain.
Oh yeah, all the rich people are kind of shady, and it's the shadiest of them all who's the one who winds up being lockstep with the jackboot epaulette wearing, like fascist soldiers, the one with the biggest security detail and the shadiest reputation, yeah, I thought this movie was brilliant. There's a color story going on here, from like this green that's used for then the graffiti and in the different things that the revolutionaries are doing, to the red that the bride is wearing, and then giving way to sort of the blacks and camos when the military junta or the military takes over. Yeah, I don't know. I was really dazzled by this, and maybe that just speaks to the bleaker aspects of my personality, but I thought it was really great.
No, and I loved Parasite, and the comparisons are unmistakable. I mean, this is Parasite on a larger scale, a larger kind of angrier scale. There is a quiet kind of simmering tension to Parasite and a dark humor to Parasite, whereas here it feels like more of a bludgeon. Like it's trying to get the same points across about economic disparity, but in a way that is not at all subtle. And that's his approach. That's just the way he feels like he has to get it across.
I don't think he wants to be. I don't think he means to be. I think he's like, I have this thing I need to tell you, and if I'm going to have to tell you blatantly and in all caps, I will,
I think Naian Gonzalez Norvind, who is the bride, is very good. And she has much more of an arc to play here than anybody else. Because we follow her for the longest time. And she's our way into the story, and I think we sort of follow her through all the changes that happen, certainly. Yeah. Yes. And I don't want to give away anything, but I would say that this is a movie that does not reward you for caring about people. Awful things happen to everyone here.
Yes, definitely. And I think the idea is maybe not this, the idea is not to sort of get invested that somebody's going to be the hero here and somebody's going to fix things, and that because everybody is sort of subject to something terrible happening, that what it's supposed to, I think he wants to put the fear of God into us, or not the fear anything but God, actually, but the fear the fear of economic inequality in us. I thought Mónica del Carmen about as Marta, who is the domestic who's sort of trapped between the two storylines that are going on, was also really terrific. Yeah, this is a movie that's going to cause arguments. I think it already has.
Yeah.
But I think Franco is a really interesting filmmaker. We saw Chronics a couple years ago, right, with Tim Roth. Did you guys see that one?
That rings a bell.
His English language film. It was up for some Spirit Awards. Yeah, that's a film he made. I found this movie really fascinating, and I want people to see it, even if you disagree with me about it. I think that the conversations that will stem out of the film are valuable and valid ones, whether or not you like the movie itself.
I would agree with that. I just felt very, I don't know, unsatisfied, and maybe that's the point. Maybe it's meant to leave you with a bad feeling. It's not meant to leave you with a good feeling of like, oh, there's hope. It's meant to like leave you with a feeling of this is happening and what do you do about it? Or can you do anything about it is the question.
Well, I don't think the movie's there to sort of draw a roadmap, but I think the movie is designed to make you leave feeling like, well, this isn't working. This isn't going to end well. We need to like reverse course with all of these things that are happening in the world right now and figure something else out. I would pair it that way with the Russell Davies series Years and Years that was on the BBC and aired here on HBO Max, which sort of like looked into the near future. It's sort of like the kind of collapse of society as we know it, and where its roots lie in things that are happening in the world right now. And so I don't think either of those things is meant to leave you feeling confident or upbeat. I think it's like, okay, this is where we are and this is where we're going, and let's fucking change the map,
There you go. So I'm saying 5.5.
Woo, right. I said 9.5. This was on my top 10 films of 2020 because I saw it during its festival run, and I really hope people check it out and see what you think.
I have an important question.
Yeah.
How can you guys talk about nihilism that much and not make a Lebowski reference?
Say what you will about the tenets of was it not commie? What's the line?
National Socialism.
National socialism. Hi, Jen. I see Jen in the background there. Is that
I
Jen
still-
with the dog?
Yes, and Sabrina is here too.
Hi, Jen. At least it's an ethos. All
There
right.
you go. I've still
right.
never seen The Big Lebowski.
Oh,
We've talked about this.
we have to remedy that.
I would feel weird seeing it with a crowd of people who are going to recite the whole thing start to finish. I would feel weird watching it by myself.
You know,
I just
Alonso,
don't-
you're like a small child wandering in and out of conversations.
I don't know. what the
Life does not stop and start on your whim.
I don't know what the context of my watching The Big Lebowski would be, but one of these days I will get to it. I promise. Anyway,
We'll talk about it when you do.
sure. So we're 7.5.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. New Order opens today in theaters only, but I'm sure it'll be streaming pretty soon. Thanks for watching. Like this video. Subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. A lot of exciting stuff going on over there. We're talking about The Handmaid's Tale. Speaking of like bleak future scenarios, we're looking at Barry Jenkins' The Underground Railroad, a bleak past scenario. So it's just nothing but upbeat good times with us, and a lot of other cool stuff that's coming up that's exclusively for our subscribers. So you want to check that out, patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Follow us on the social media at BeFastAllDay, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Oh, Christy, what's coming up for Marvel Monday?
I have upbeat good times for you because this week is Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, yay.
A movie that is pure joy, the first full Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, and one of Nick's absolute favorites that he's been looking forward to this whole series long. And I laughed my whole way through. Again, it's just joyous and playful and cool. So Spider-Man Homecoming.
Excellent. Well, tune in for that. Thanks for you guys for watching. Have a good week. Take care of yourselves and each other. We'll see you next time.
Bye.